Some of the challenges were just basic logistics of not having management over the team and not having a deep understanding of all the balls that were in the air and just keeping things, keep the lights on. Where are the areas where we were lacking in expertise? Where are the areas that were vulnerable from a security perspective, that type of thing. I had heard about Jake and Acquisition Lifeguards from a reference, someone I very much trust. He saw the challenge that we were having and said, "You need to call Jake." And I didn't understand at the time what that meant, but very quickly, within an hour of talking to Jake, and then ultimately talking to several people on his team, it was very clear that this is their business. I had three different vendors that were about to bid on it, and to be honest, by the time I built the relationship with Jake, I had called the other ones off and asked for, a sole source, a requisition to go forward with it. I've been in the business for 20 years. I've never seen a more aggressive approach towards coming in full force, but at the same time being respectful of the policies that we have. What was very clear is the skill level to very quickly scour, once the privileges were provided, scour all the equipment and gather data and make decisions based on looking at the whole problem versus just tactically solving one problem after another. One of our problems that we had is just vulnerabilities across our network, which is common for a lot of companies. But the speed at which we went through and knocked out hundreds of equipment and completely patched all them was, typically something that would take us 6 months, and he did it in a few weeks. Like I said, it's the fastest, onboarding and speed to value I've ever seen. Over the course of 90 days, we had our quarterly business review with the team and just reviewed all of the cost savings. By the end of it, we were calculating that it was around $300,000 worth of savings that they found within the first 90 days. But again, what we're looking at in the next 90 days is potentially, annual, could be in the $400,000 to $500,000 in terms of helping us to transition over to a more appropriate long distance carrier and just the voice networks. Our relationship with Acquisition Lifeguards, again, lifeguards an interesting term because that's exactly what they were for us in the short term. It's interesting because at the very beginning, Jake had proposed the team's going to come in and stabilize this, but really what I want to be looking at is a long-term partnership where we don't get back into this mess. You don't call me back again. Why don't we come up with a ramp down schedule that gets it to a reasonable amount of spend per month, where we help to keep maintain what we have rescued. What I have never really felt, frankly, not once, was that we were part of three or four different customers or more. Even though I realized that they do have several customers supporting, it always felt like the white glove treatment. When I needed them or had questions, they were almost immediately back. So it felt like it was an interesting blend of having consulting level expertise, but in a form of staff augmentation. In other words, they were part of the team as if they were employees or a contractor doing staff aug, but we had the consulting level expertise. And I think that's what made the difference is we weren't just, you know, one of three customers that they're dealing with on a daily basis. I totally recommend other customers to Acquisition Lifeguards. So it is a very unique company. I haven't seen one designed as well. Jake and the team again have a very interesting approach. I think the Lifeguards as part of the name is a very appropriate part of it. And it doesn't necessarily, part of the recommendation is for folks and teams that are in that type of rescue mode or needing that rescue, but it's also one where you've got stabilization just to bring them in from a strategic standpoint and to have them on board, even if it's for a small retainer, just to have them on to review and to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Every one of the folks that I've been dealing with are top talent. In conversations with Jake, he is very particular about the people that he brings on. And so I have yet to see anybody that wasn't top talent.